Okay, so I am allegedly live, according to YouTube. Hello there, if you are watching this on the replay. Welcome to my channel. My name is Roy. This channel is called Oiby, and as you can tell, I am all by myself right now. I wanted to do this video. I got a couple requests to talk about this relatively recently, so this video is going to be mostly centered around my personal experiences on Carnival Cruise Line and then Disney Cruise Line, because I've taken recent trips on both of those cruise lines and had some time to let those experiences settle a little bit. And so I thought that this would be sort of a fun experience to do before too much time passes, before it sort of gets away from me and I sort of just forget about my overall experiences on both of those cruise lines. So this is what's happening. I'm doing a surprise live stream. I did not advertise this whatsoever. I don't do a lot of live streams, and I wish I could be a little bit better about it, but hopefully you can hear me right now. I'm actually trying to use this microphone that I have. So I have two USB microphones, the other one of which is right here, but I don't think I can use both of them simultaneously because they're USB microphones, and I've tried to research if I can use them both together, and I don't know if I can. So I might have to look into alternative microphone options. So myself and Brennan could both use microphones. So if you can hear me on this, hopefully you can. I'm talking like right into it. It's a little bit of a cheaper microphone. So I'll let a few more people get into the live chat before I start like really dissecting this. This is something I decided to sort of do last minute. So I'm a little bit nervous about it. I don't know why. I'm just talking about my experience on Carnival and Disney Cruise Line. So okay, well, hello everybody. Welcome to the live chat here. So I have a little paper off screen here just with some last minute notes that I tried to scribble down. And essentially what I want to try to do, it's overall, a bit of a spoiler alert, these are very difficult to compare these cruise lines because it does come down to personal preference and family situations and just general interests, I suppose. So I have like three main categories that I think covers like the main aspects of cruise lines. So I have affordability / price, and then entertainment, and then food. Because how I personally interpreted it is that when it comes to cruise lines, those are sort of the main aspects that people want to know. They want to know how expensive is it, what can you do on the cruise, and then what can you eat on the cruise, and then other aspects can sort of be constructed and built around those experiences. So hello everybody, welcome to this last minute live stream that I'm a little bit nervous about. I think it's because these are live and then I let them just stay uploaded to the channel. So there's just like a little bit when you edit your life in YouTube videos, and then there's a video that is just, it exists forever, no matter what you say, or if you say something inaccurate or wrong, or if you forget to mention something, or you stutter over your words like that, then it is forever on the internet. And this is also going to be kind of complicated because it's just me currently right now. This is just sort of something that I wanted to do, just to sort of do this video and sort of navigate my thoughts on these comparative cruise lines, because I've never cruised before. Brennan has cruised her entire life, and she's done different cruise lines and different just experiences and who she's gone with and the different sizes of ships that she's been on. So she's a little bit more of a natural when it comes to cruising. So this is just my personal experience, I guess, and just interpreting and navigating that. So I'm going to go ahead. This is going to happen a lot probably, by the way, where I look over here because I have my laptop just like right off screen and I'm just sort of looking through comments. Yes, Brennan is in the chat. So if anybody does have a question for Brennan in particular, she is in the chat, but it's just going to be me making the little live stream here, and hopefully that'll make the video a little bit quicker because I don't anticipate this taking longer than like, I don't know, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, maybe an hour. We'll definitely see. Okay, so I guess I'll just get into it a little bit. I've been talking about 5 minutes. So the two cruises that I have done recently, both with Brennan, back at the very end of February and then into March, I went on a Carnival Mardi Gras cruise with Brennan and her family. And on that cruise, we went to Nassau, We went to Amber Cove in the Dominican Republic, and we went to Grand Turk in the Turks and Caicos. And that was a 7-day Bahama cruise. And that cruise was planned by Brennan's side of the family a long time ago. And I was just asked to accompany them, which obviously I said yes, which I was a little bit nervous about because I've never gone on a cruise before at that point. And so it was something that I was nervous about and excited about. And I thought I'd give it a try. And now I like cruising. So I did that cruise. Again, that was a few months ago. And then for my 30th birthday, my parents, they wanted to do something fun and exciting. And they were trying to get an idea as to what we could do, something that was like a little bit different, something that was a little bit more local potentially, just so we could get everybody from various locations together more reasonably. And I tried to think about some like potential local destinations, and ultimately I thought about Disney Cruise Line because that's always something that I wanted to do, and I just never done it. And then having just gone on the Carnival cruise, it was very much so a reasonable option to consider that legitimately. So I looked into pricing for that, and we ended up working out a Disney Cruise Line cruise. So a lot of these cruises were either just something that was invited on, or something that I just sort of considered and went through that process at the very last minute, more or less. Last minute being like a month or two before the cruise. A lot of people plan very far in advance when it comes to cruises. So those were the two cruises that I went on, and that was the Disney Dream out of Port Canaveral, and that was also a Bahama cruise. So both the Carnival Mardi Gras and the Disney Dream were both out of Port Canaveral, and they were both Bahama cruises. That's another sort of aspect about the Disney Dream cruise, having just done a Bahama cruise, but then that was also somewhat of an experiment to see if we could get a different experience doing pretty much an identical itinerary, but then a very limited itinerary. And spoiler, we did. We had an incredible time, even though they were both Bahama cruises. We had a lot of fun, and I'm sure that we want to try Caribbean cruises at some point in the future, because now we've done Bahama cruises just back to back, and they've been lovely and beautiful. But now we're curious to try different locations. Okay, so I'm still trying to like sort of look over at the live stream, and this is where hopefully Brennan in the comments will help me out a little bit, because she's hopefully seeing comments that I'm like missing and hopefully answering on my behalf, because we did have a pretty identical feelings, just us just talking it out the times that we went on our cruises, that we agreed pretty much on a lot of just like what Carnival had to offer versus what Disney had to offer, and where the respective strengths and weaknesses were for both cruise lines. So I got a couple super chats here, and I'll try to get to those if I can notice them. I'm like going through just my internal thought process here, and I don't want to derail myself because I'm already sort of nervous about being articulate about talking about cruising, which I should definitely put a little asterisk with this, is that I do not know a lot about cruising. This is just me talking about my personal experiences recently. So if there are more specific answers and statistics that you would like to know, I would definitely talk to a travel agent, or there are some YouTube channels that I think are more specifically tailored to cruising that know a lot more about these cruise ships and the various ports pricing and comparative experiences and values that you get out of them. So this is just me sort of casually talking about cruising. So this is me not trying to advocate one or the other. So Bin Jam says, Roy, I apologize. This question is completely off topic, but how many sealed Pokemon booster boxes? I can't even talk. How many sealed Pokemon booster packs do you think you have? I probably have a good amount. That's like my little Pokemon section back there. Pokemon is very off topic from a Carnival versus Disney Cruise Line topic, but I appreciate that. So yeah, those are a lot of those are just kind of sealed boxes that then have like 4 packs inside of them, and it's mostly just like the fun of just finding these at various retail stores, just because aesthetically they look really fun. So it's just a personal little hobby that I have, just to find these little boxes when they're out. I don't buy everything. I just buy most everything. So thank you again for the super chat. I think that I missed one a little bit higher up here from Artemis. Thank you, Artemis. Oh, and there's like a little He put like a little dancing emoji there next to it. That was really cool. Okay, so I think I've gone through the cruise lines that I did, the days that I did those cruise in terms of when they were February, March for Carnival, Mardi Gras, and then middle of May for Disney Dream. Carnival was a 7-day Bahama cruise. Disney Dream was a 4-day Bahama cruise. For Carnival, we went to Nassau, Amber Cove, and Grand Turk. And then for Disney, we went to Nassau and Castaway Cay. Now, I wanted to talk about and break down those 3 categories that I wanted to mention and talk about. And then again, the caveat that I'm probably going to miss and forget a lot of what I'd like to discuss within these subcategories, because that's just how it works with me when I try to remember and talk about aspects of affordability and entertainment and food. There's just going to be a lot to miss, especially on these cruise lines, because there was a lot definitely going on. So first of all, affordability / price. So I do not have an exact number in terms of the price that we paid for both cruises, for both cruise lines. What I do know is that Carnival is going to be cheaper than Disney. I think that is just across the board. That is generally consistent to my understanding, that Carnival is going to be more affordable than Disney will be. There were aspects about the Disney cruise line that were included in the price, that were an additional price for Carnival Cruise Line. Like, for example, soda. For Carnival, you had to purchase a package that included soda. For Disney, I'm pretty sure you could definitely just go around and just get soda from various soda fountains. So just the cost breakdown is that Carnival is going to be cheaper than Disney is. And that's a big discussion. That is, is Disney worth the price? And most people will say that yes, it is absolutely worth the additional price for the experience that you get on a Disney Cruise Line ship. And that is my first thought process in terms of, I'm not sure. Because so I have to also forward this with the fact that I went on one of the newest, biggest, best Carnival ships that they have in their fleet. That is a massive factor in this that I am fully well aware of, is that I went on the Carnival Mardi Gras. I did not go on a smaller, older Mardi Gras ship. I went on one of the newest, biggest, best Mardi Gras ships that there is. And so to me personally, going from the Carnival Mardi Gras to the Disney Dream, it actually did feel like a little bit of a downgrade. And that statement alone probably is making some people's heads spin a little bit. But that was sort of the vibe that I got, is that the Disney Dream was definitely smaller than the Mardi Gras. And not that like size matters with Carnival versus Disney when it comes to cruise lines, but that was the first factor that I probably noticed, which this was all very hard not to compare and contrast throughout our entire experience doing, especially just being on the Disney Dream, having just done another different cruise line, just to compare those and just like what's different, what's better, what's worse. That was just constantly sort of going through my head, and it just took a lot to sort of kind of mute those thoughts, because I didn't want that to be the entire experience, just comparing it to Carnival. So I lost my thought. Talking about just affordability and price, whether or not Disney is worth it compared to Carnival. In my experience, what I did. So Disney also, I went on one of the newer ships. The newest Disney ship is the Disney Wish, that is going to be having its maiden voyage, I think, within the next month. And I think the Dream and the Fantasy are about 10 years old. And then the Magic and the Wonder, I think, are about 20 years old. I'm pretty positive. So as far as the newest actual ships, the Dream is one of the newer ships in the Disney Cruise Line, as well as the Mardi Gras. But in terms of size, the Mardi Gras definitely was bigger, and there was a lot more to do on the Carnival Mardi Gras, which I'll get to, I guess, in just a minute. But as far as affordability / price, which I guess this sort of like leads into the other aspects, because the affordability and then just what you pay just to be able to go on the cruise are what lead you into the various entertainment offerings, and then the food options that they have on the cruise ships. And then all these other topics can sort of be broken down into subcategories where the food that is included with the cruise, the food that's not charged, the entertainment that is, I guess most entertainment is covered with the cruise line. I mean, there are some aspects that were paid. So the two, I guess I can sort of move past affordability and the price of it, because these other categories will kind of just reference back to just the affordability and whether it's worth it. So entertainment on the ship. So there are, in my opinion, there were two, like each cruise line, each ship had it. And I guess I can't really like talk to the cruise line itself. It's more these ships from these cruise lines, because if I compared the oldest Disney ship with the newest Carnival ship, and then the newest Carnival ship with the oldest Disney ship, the comparison would be obvious. So this is just my experience on these particular ships. But each ship had like a premier entertainment offering. So the Carnival had the Bolt Sea Coaster, which was a roller coaster on the deck of the ship. And then the Disney Dream had the Aqueduct, which is sort of a water coaster on the deck of the ship. So the Bolt Sea Coaster was an additive charge that was not included with just the price of the cruise line ticket to get onto the ship, which makes sense because they just capacity wise, I don't know if that could have just been an included entertainment offering, just because it would have been very, very popular. But we got to do that a couple times, and really that's all the amount of times that we needed to do that experience, just a couple times, but it was definitely really cool. And then the Aqueduct was an included experience. The wait times for that could get a little bit high, I think, but it was fun getting to do it when we got to do it. That's one of my my when I go back and hopefully do it at some point, I want to bring my GoPro just so I can just record that experience. Because again, a lot of what I like record and put on the internet, it's not to just, I have to record a POV for YouTube. It's like, no. I want to be able to look back at this stuff and my reactions to it and my personal experience. It's what YouTube is for me. It's a video journal, more or less. So hopefully I can come back and record that again, as well as getting to use a GoPro for snorkeling and for diving, because that was don't even get me started on that, but like that whole vlog process of just trying to record underwater on the Disney Dream trip just with a underwater phone case, that was horribly complicated. And from the little footage that I got that was salvageable, I was satisfied. But I just want to go back with like an actual GoPro. But so yeah, so entertainment. So those were like the main recreational, I suppose, entertainment offerings on both ships. And sort of breaking it down from there, the Carnival had more. The Carnival Mardi Gras had a lot more. And that was another big takeaway, other than just like the size of the ship, just comparatively. And this is something that I mentioned to Brennan almost immediately, is that there was so much more to do on the Carnival Mardi Gras. I was like almost disappointed with the Disney Dream, just comparatively to how much they had on the ship to actually do. And that was just like a first impression that definitely subsided throughout the cruise, because there is actually so much to do on the ship that's not necessarily just recreational activities. So the Mardi Gras had the Bolt Sea Coaster. It had a high ropes course. It had like a miniature water park with different tubes and dump buckets and slides and splash pads. It had a miniature golf course, and it had so many different just pools and jacuzzis. And that was like the most, for me personally, the most exciting aspect of the Mardi Gras was the available just recreational activities that they had on that ship. And then going to the Disney Dream, where it pretty much just had the Aqueduct, and they had there was also a basketball court on the Mardi Gras, and there was also a basketball court on the Disney Dream, and then they also had a mini golf course. So the Mardi Gras had what Disney Dream had, but then more. and so that was exciting. And then the Higher Ups course was included with the the only thing that was not included was the Bolt Seacoaster in terms of just entertainment, and then other uh, stuff like bingo, but that was the same on both cruises. So that was the entertainment aspect on the Carnival in terms of just recreation, and then Disney again having pretty much what Mardi Gras had, but less. But then the theatrical entertainment was on the Disney Dream. Well, okay, so on the Mardi Gras, it was impressive. It was exciting. It was kinetic and exciting. Did I already say that? But on the Disney Dream, it was phenomenal. It was a Broadway production caliber experience in terms of the performance and in terms of the technical aspects of the show. So the Disney Dream, without a doubt, those shows were phenomenal. That's not to say at all that the shows on the Mardi Gras were by any means bad or subpar, because they were not. They were just as impressive, but they were a different caliber of entertainment, I suppose. Where for me, going to see the shows on the Mardi Gras was more of a casual experience, and then on the Disney Dream, it was we need to see these shows, and some were better than others. The Disney Dream, I think they had 3 different shows on the Mardi Gras. I don't remember how many they had in particular, but a lot of them were just vocal shows or musical shows versus the Dream. It was again more of a theatrical narrative experience with all sorts of pyrotechnics and stage effects and lighting packages that just absolutely blew us away. I don't know. It was very, very different, just the caliber of entertainment, but it was also both enjoyable and I don't know. And this is something that I know that Brennan could absolutely chime in on and agree with, where just we love entertainment, and just getting to see that level of entertainment on cruise ships. For me, that was, as somebody who'd never done a cruise line before, that was very surprising. Just the level of entertainment that they could do when it came to theatrical productions. So again, not knocking either cruise line, and it's hard to really be too comparative with it, because again, they were sort of 4 different audiences, and that's sort of something that I could have made some sort of a category, but it is, I guess it would fit into this one the most. So the demographic, I guess, of the audience that both of these cruise lines attempt to attract. Disney is more for families, and then Mardi Gras is more for adults. I think that's pretty well known. I don't think that that's like a surprising factor at all when it comes to the respective cruise lines. But I definitely enjoyed both of them, as just somebody who at the time was in his late 20s, now I'm in my 30s. I enjoyed them both absolutely equally. And, well, okay, I didn't see, this is hard. I can't say like I enjoyed them absolutely equally, because I did not, because there were factors that I enjoyed and liked more than the alternative cruise line, but ultimately I guess I did enjoy them both. But I don't know about equally. But okay, I'll get to it. So the Disney Cruise Line ship, I think this is a factor that Brennan had in terms of her just overall experience that she took away. It was a little bit disappointing in the fact that Disney sort of was more for adults. The nightlife on the ship was fairly not existed. A lot of just and I don't know if this is due to just COVID-19 procedures and recent situations. I don't know what the cruise lines were several years ago, but pretty much all of the entertainment ended on the Disney cruise ship at around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. And on the Carnival Mardi Gras, it was going all night long. So there was a lot more to do for adults on Carnival as opposed to Disney. And then just like the level of entertainment of offerings, Disney Cruise Line had trivia, and they had the usual matchmaker how well do you know your spouse games and bingo and Carnival had that too, but they had more of it, and it was absolutely more catered to adults. Like Mardi Gras had definitely rated R entertainment, like the stand-up comedian show that myself and Brennan went to. That was like that was disgustingly vulgar, like easily. And then on the Disney cruise, they did have like 18 and older shows, but it was by no means anywhere close to that level of vulgar that, and it was rated, it was rated to expect vulgarity and profanity, and it was for sure. It was entertaining. No, I liked it a lot. But yeah, so there was just more to do in terms of the nightlife. There was more to do for adults, and then not so much on the. Oh, is it not focusing? There I am. Not so much on the Disney cruise ship. So that was somewhat disappointing. Just so, with the exception of the Broadway shows, the productions in the Walt Disney Theater, I do think that entertainment went to the Carnival Mardi Gras, which I don't like saying because honestly, I thought before this I was going to be all about the Disney entertainment, but if you really don't factor in those theatrical shows, yeah, it's really absolutely the Carnival Mardi Gras just because of what they had to do. There's also the factor that the Carnival Mardi Gras was a 7-day cruise as opposed to the Disney Dream being a 4-day cruise. I don't know when it comes to cruises if they account for that and accommodate for that factor that there needs to be more to do on a 7-day cruise versus a 4-day cruise. But also, so the Disney Dream had fireworks, didn't it? Yeah, they had Pirates Night, they had fireworks, they had the stage shows out on the deck, which the Mardi Gras had too, but they were more just activated dance parties. The fireworks were really cool. That was something different, getting to see fireworks on a cruise ship. Okay, well, I sort of retract that statement then, giving entertainment a Carnival. Entertainment, that could have gone either way, honestly. That's I think I don't think I can compare those fairly because they were just so different, but then they also like compensated for their respective demographics very reasonably with what they had. And it's not to say that you could not go on a Disney cruise and not be entertained. It was just definitely more for families and kids. Like I was telling Brennan this too, where the stage shows in particular, just like the Sail Away Party and then the Pirate Party, those were very Disney Junior level shows. Like if you go to the Disney parks as an adult and you watch the Castle Stage show or you watch one of the various amphitheater shows, then as an adult, I think you can easily enjoy that. I think the shows that they put on at the theme parks take that into consideration. But then I think that the Disney Cruise Line shows, with the exception of the theatrical shows, those were very, again, production value, very mature and well done. But the deck shows, those were for very young audiences. And I didn't end up recording a lot of that because again, it was just such easy entertainment, if that makes sense, just because it was for such a younger audience. So yeah, so entertainment, it's a toss-up. It was equally as enjoyable for very different reasons on both cruise lines, and I think that factor alone has made me just so much more interested in cruising. Because Brennan's been trying to get me to do cruises for a little while, and we just never really had the means to just do it unless we had a good reason to do it, which was going with her family and going for my 30th birthday, just being able to kind of splurge and do that. I know a lot of people are cruising right now, but it was more so because we'd actually planned to do this a while ago, and then because it was a last minute decision to do that, with just my birthday, 30th birthday being sort of a big deal that my mom wanted to do together. So There's also one other factor, I guess, when it comes to bringing it back to sort of affordability slash price. So, and I don't talk about this that often, but it's reasonable to be transparent, I guess, in this situation. So I am a Disney cast member, so I do work for Disney. And when it comes to Disney Cruise Line, there is something called um, space available rooms. And how that works is if there's space available, and it's basically Disney provides a list of available sailings and then the tier of room that you could anticipate getting on that cruise. So it needs to sort of be a last minute decision to make that. And you need to sort of adhere to whatever room they end up putting you in, but it is cheaper than just outright staying in a room in a veranda, just paying full price for it. So and that's why we were able to get multiple verandas, because it was cheaper just that way, just utilizing that cast member perk and privilege, being able to do that, which I don't know if we could have done it without that. So that is another major factor to consider, that we might not even have done this if it wasn't for that financial burden to be slightly reduced. And that applies to some Disney experiences. Disney doesn't just give cast members discounts for anything. Like, they're very particular about what they give discounts for, and even particular times of year. That was a big factor too, is that I wanted to go on a cruise during my actual birthday, and sometimes these cast available dates are not advertised until the very last second. But I needed to be able to tell my family like what days to drive in or fly in or take time for this, or put in vacation or requested days off from work. So I needed to make a decision of what day to do it. So that's why we went with the dates that we did, which was technically not on my birthday, but then we got to do a 4-day cruise versus a 3-day cruise, and we got to have an additional day at sea, which that was really, really pleasant. So it ended up working out perfectly. So jumping back down, so that was pretty much it about mostly affordability, price, entertainment aspects, which again is definitely going to get a it's going to be a toss up for entertainment. So finally, food. And food's hard to talk about. Food is very subjective versus for people that like what they want and expect out of a cruise line, and what's offered, and the quality of that food. So they both worked slightly differently. And from talking with Brennan, the Carnival Mardi Gras, it was a little bit different than how she had come to experience cruising, I suppose. So on the Mardi Gras, and this is what I loved about the Mardi Gras, and spoiler here, I think I favored the Carnival Mardi Gras food more so than the Disney Dream food, because Carnival just had more options. And I think that this keeps going back to the fact that Carnival was a bigger ship, the Mardi Gras in particular. If this was a smaller ship, I don't doubt that Disney would probably fully eclipse that. But because we went on one of the newest, best ships for an entire week cruise, that is a massive contributing factor in the experience that I had personally. But the Carnival Mardi Gras, they had just so many different windows that you could walk up to. There was a burger restaurant you could just walk up to and get a burger. There was a chicken restaurant you could walk up and just get chicken. There was a barbecue restaurant you could walk up and get barbecue. There was a pizza restaurant you could go up to and get pizza. There was so many different options. They had seafood windows and Mexican style windows, and that was overwhelming. In an entire week, I did not go to every single food window and get food. There was that much of a variety on the Carnival Mardi Gras, in addition to the sit down dining experience, in addition to the buffet style location that they had on the ship. So that I liked that a lot. So getting onto the Disney Dream and just seeing that there was just sort of the one buffet, there were the separate individual dining rooms, and then there was just a few quick service windows just next to the pool. That was a little bit disappointing. But then I was also aware that it was a 4-day cruise. We were doing excursions at ports. so it didn't really matter that much. It wasn't something that I was like absolutely overwhelmed or underwhelmed by, and when it came to the food on the Disney Dream. But it was just so much more fun on the Carnival just to be able to try something new and different every day, or try a combination of different foods from different windows on the ship. But I don't know about the quality of actual food on either cruise line. That one I'm not entirely sure about. For me, the quality was pretty identical, and I'm talking sort of about just like the baseline, just food at the buffet. I think it was pretty consistently fine and satisfying and good. What I liked about the Disney Dream is that the dining rooms did rotate. On the Carnival Cruise Line, we were in one dining room every single night. We didn't have to go every night, but that was our assigned dining room for the entire week. On the Disney Dream, we rotated dining rooms every single night. And I believe that one of the nights we ended up going to Remy's, and that was an entire other food experience. But getting to rotate dining rooms, that was really cool. I liked that a lot. That sort of like intertwines with the entertainment factor of the Disney Dream that made it exciting. Just getting a different dining experience and location every night. But getting to go to Remy's, which I believe on the I don't know if it's the same on all the Disney cruise ships, but at least to my knowledge, on the sister ships, the Dream and the Fantasy, they have Remy's, and then they have Palos, I believe, as sort of elevated dining experiences. Remy's is very expensive, and that was a massive decision to do that. Not a massive decision, but just like it was a big awareness factor in terms of this is not included. This is very expensive, and this is fancy, and we have to dress a very specific and certain way. Jackets are required, dresses are required. You don't just go to the pool and then go to Remy's. It's a very different experience, and it was something that Brennan was very excited about. I was excited about. Dennis, who is my brother, who is very much so into culinary, just everything having to do with food and presentation and experience, he was so excited about that, and we almost sort of did it for him in particular because we just knew that he would like it a lot. He loves Remy, he loves Ratatouille, and just getting to go to have that experience, I know that. I mean, he absolutely loved it. We loved it too. It's not something that I would do every time, like without a doubt, easily. It was for me. It might have been even honestly too fancy. I don't need that experience. That was a very much so for me personally a milestone birthday / anniversary trip. I don't by any means judge anybody that actually enjoys doing that every single time they go on the cruise, because it was phenomenal, just financially. Like pretty much probably what we would have. I mean, not all that we saved by doing the cast available discount rooms, but that was how we financially justified going to Remy's, is that we actually got a discount on the rooms. So getting to go to Remy's compensated for that discount, because I couldn't have paid full price for the rooms and gone to Remy's, and that would have been financially a lot probably. So and I've never gone on a cruise with my parents. This is their first cruise since they've been married for over 30 years. They both cruised before they got married. So this is their first cruise actually together. And then our first cruise as a family, which was really, really cool. And Travis did not, unfortunately, get to go on the cruise just because it was so last minute, and he already had plans with Christine. He actually went to Europe with her, and they had a phenomenal time there, but he was able to get back in time to come to fly in for like one day, and we went to Magic Kingdom together, and then he went back home. So it was like he was just like, I could come for one day, like I'll do it, because he does that. Travis is the kind of personality where he will just get on a plane, fly somewhere for a day, and then fly back home, which I don't know. He's just that sort of personality. Like he'll be somewhere for one day, or he'll be somewhere for a month, and it seems like sometimes it's like never really anywhere in between that. That's just how he is. But so back to food, I guess, for Remy's. Remy's was delicious. It was a fun experience, slightly overwhelming in terms of just keeping up with the food selections that they had, and the options that they had. And because for us, they had 2 alternative menus. They had one that was um, from, I believe, an American chef. I believe the Victorian Albert's chef, if I'm not mistaken, and there was a French chef. And so we each chose one or the other option, and then we sort of kind of compared, and we would maybe pick off each other's plates, just depending on who got what from what chef. And we were all very satisfied. I think that what like each particular chef, the different courses, like there were a couple from each one that were just they looked so good, so that either one was definitely a winning dish. So that was that. Let's see, I'm trying to think about anything else, just food related. When it comes to alcohol, I know that. So actually, I don't really know about the Disney Dream, but I do know that the Mardi Gras had a drinking package. I don't know if the Dream in particular had a drinking package. I imagine that they probably had some sort of uh, alcohol situation, but we did not do either because you would have had to drink a lot, especially on the Mardi Gras, to financially compensate for how much you spent on the drinking package. So we just sort of casually would get a drink at a bar if we were walking by, or grab one on the way to the theater on the Mardi Gras. So we were very reasonable with that. Disney, I don't even remember how much or if we even had any alcohol at all. I know that I got some at Remy's for sure, but we were also able to bring bottles of wine on both cruises. Got a little hair on the microphone. Um, so just as far as alcohol, I was satisfied with both, and I don't. I mean, Brendan and I, we drink like very reasonably casually, So we weren't. I don't know. I was more focused on like just enjoying the ships and the experiences and the excursions than I was just the various additional add-on prices. I guess I don't know. And then for the so I guess a big factor about this too is that on our port days for Carnival Mardi Gras, we didn't do any excursions, and then on Disney Dream, we did do an excursion. And the Carnival Mardi Gras was a particular reason for that because we were trying to coordinate that with Brennan's family and her side of the family with that. And we ultimately just decided, because there were a lot of us that were going to be going to, instead of splitting up and doing various excursions or trying to navigate that, we just decided to just just stay together and just sort of walk around and explore. And I actually liked that kind of a lot, just being able to walk around the port, find a bar, find a gift shop, get some souvenirs, especially as a first cruise. So I wasn't too incredibly overwhelmed. I enjoyed that. And then specifically because we were doing another Bahama cruise on the Disney Dream going back to Nassau, I was like, maybe we should try an excursion, and just because my parents, they drink here and there, but I knew that they would have enjoyed doing an activity versus walking around and window shopping, because really all the souvenirs that we would have gotten probably at a port would have just been for each other anyway. So since we were all there was no real reason to window shop or 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 get any souvenirs. So that's why we decided to look into excursions. And I found the snorkeling one in Nassau that ended up being pretty fine. It was fun. It was pretty, and it was something that we could all do. It was accessible for the most part. In terms of just, I don't know how fully accessible it was, if at all, because we had to get onto the boat to be taken to Pearl Island, which is where this particular excursion was, and just casually snorkeling and just enjoying the beach and having some lunch and then heading back to the Dream. That was a nice, pleasant little excursion that we got to do. So I'm excited to see different excursions on various other cruise lines, without a doubt, at some point in the future. But I think that I've pretty much talked about most aspects of my personal experience and the breakdown of the various categories for each particular ship. So, in terms of just my overall thoughts, I guess, if I could just condense all of that together, I had more fun on the Carnival Mardi Gras but I had a more relaxing time on the Disney Dream. If that was going to be my just honest takeaway from the experiences that I had. I am a very active person. I'm not generally the type to sit around by the pool and just lay there. I know that a lot of people really like that. So I'm sure that you could have gotten that experience from either cruise line. But I liked to explore. That was my favorite aspect of the Carnival Mardi Gras and that was how I spent literally every single day at sea. Even days were reported, I would still just run around the ship. I would go as far top deck as I could, as far below deck, as far forward and aft, and starboard and port. And I just wanted to explore that ship so much, and just like finding a new place to eat, a new place to relax, a new pool. That was the most exciting aspect of that ship in particular, is just exploring and running around. And the Disney Dream, that's exactly what I did on that too, but it was smaller, so there was less to really explore. And then on the Dream, there were more locations that you can't really explore because they have some areas. There was a place called Vibe for, I believe, like teenagers. There was the Oceaneers Club, more for kids. There was the It's a Small World Nursery. So there are places obviously that you can't really run around, especially with a camera. But ultimately that was nice. I did like the I was gonna say I liked the atrium aspect of the Disney Dream more, that the Carnival Cruise did not have. There wasn't like a central location on the Mardi Gras. There sort of was. There was like a stage and a bar, but there was no just like open atrium like there was on the Disney Dream. So I did like that more. That was a lot easier to just orient myself in terms of the ship when it came to just comparing those. Yeah. I'm trying to think of anything else. That might be it. I don't know. I think I'm definitely most curious to go on a Royal Pacific cruise, Royal Caribbean cruise, or a Norwegian cruise, and just experiment with the various cruise lines that there are. A lot of people, I guess they go with one cruise line and they just stick with that particular cruise line because they like it, it's familiar, they had fun on it, and they want to continue to indulge in exactly those memories and offerings that they had on that cruise line. But I want to go on more ships. I want different experiences. I think that's my main takeaway, is that it makes me excited to do different cruise lines. Like, it's not like an airline, where you have like a really good airline experience. You're going to stick with that airline because they were dependable and you appreciated it and enjoyed it, their level of service, which is fine. But cruise lines are different, I think. I guess I didn't really touch on that, which is just like the level of service that a lot of people, that's their main takeaway from a Disney cruise line, is just the level of service and then just the adhering to your needs. I don't know. I didn't really experience a major difference between the level of service on either cruise line. I was very impressed with Carnival and just their attention to your needs, and they just did a phenomenal job. And then the same with the Disney cast members. I think that the Disney cast members are definitely more attentive, but some people may not actually like that. I'm like looking over here at the comments. Some people may not like that level of attentiveness that the Disney cast members provide on the Disney Cruise Line, and I could have gone either way. I enjoyed it without a doubt. I was impressed and I felt comfortable with both cruise lines. I wouldn't say that Disney had better service necessarily. Maybe they did, but it's not like a massive takeaway that I took from that experience, that Disney had just a superior level of service, which I'll probably Like after I say this in the live stream, I'll probably be thinking about it and I'll be like, wait a minute, no, they totally did. They had such incredible service. They're Disney cast members, and there's just a type of personality that a Disney cast member is that I felt translated perfectly onto Disney Cruise Line. The character interactions that you had on the cruise, and then the cast member interactions that you had on the cruise was very reminiscent of the caliber of service that you would get in a theme park. So that translated really well, which I was very curious about that, if it was going to feel like somewhat of a knockoff Disney parks experience, but just on a ship. And it did not. It did not whatsoever. And they perfectly extended that level of service and just kindness and attentiveness to the ship that they did in the theme parks that they had. The level of service that they had in the theme parks translated very well to the ship. So yeah, I think I'm saying something like smart, and then I look over here and then I read something and then I'm like, oh, you're in the middle of a sentence, and then I don't know what I'm saying. So that's been a pretty common occurrence in this particular live stream. It's getting pretty dark outside, and I'm getting close to an hour here, so I might end this at some point soon, unless I think about any other aspects to talk about. On both cruise lines, we did have a veranda room, and that was a personal preference for me in particular. I do get motion sick. It is very random and happenstance when it happens. There are certain triggering factors that I know could lead to motion sickness. I did not have a motion sickness issue on either of these ships. Only did I really feel slightly uncomfortable, maybe towards the beginning of the experience when we would be sitting down to dinner. And that is just, again, with myself being a very active person, enjoying walking around the ship and exploring. When I'm walking around on a moving vessel, I don't really notice or feel any rocking elements of the ship. But when we would sit down to dinner and I would be sitting there at the table, then I would really start to feel just like the rockiness of just moving through the water, and then the particular knots that we were traveling, how fast we were going. That's like really when it caught up with me. But I would use the patches behind the ear, and I didn't have any problems at all with that. But getting a veranda room was just a personal preference for that just in case factor. Just if I did start to feel a little bit like my internal gyroscope was just a little bit off, my equilibrium was a little bit messed up, then I could just open up the veranda and just get like some nice fresh air. And that was very beneficial. I liked that a lot. That was definitely worth it. That's not something I consider a splurge. It is definitely price-wise, but that's like a caliber of an experience that I personally find very much so necessary. Not that I would not do a porthole or an interior room by any means, but there's just like an additive factor of just comfort that came with just getting a veranda room, which was yeah, it was pleasant. I liked that a lot. I liked both rooms. They were both pretty similar. I guess that could have been another entire category, just the accommodations of just the experience and just like the rooms themselves, but they were pretty identical just in the size. I think the bed, the sofa, the vanity, the veranda. The only aspect was that Disney had two bathrooms, sort of. They had a bathroom with a sink and a shower, and then they had a bathroom with the sink and a toilet, and that was sort of nice. So we could kind of spread out our various toiletries a little bit more on the Carnival, or on the Disney Dream versus the Carnival Cruise Line. So I guess that was a factor. But as far as cleanliness and size of the room, I do think that those were pretty similar, honestly. Am I forgetting anything? I'm just sort of like just going through my thought process here. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll through the comments here, just see if I could see any questions that I missed. I missed a lot of questions, so I'm very sorry. I really hope that I sort of answered most everybody's general questions. If anybody joined in on this live stream halfway through or towards the end, I've been talking about an hour here. Then, oh no, focus. There we go. Wants to focus on my cheeseburger and Pokemon back here. But if I missed any questions, or if you asked a question that I didn't answer, maybe I talked about it a little bit earlier, because I pretty much started to just, when I went live, I just kind of started to go into it in terms of just my thoughts and comparative elements of both cruise lines. So if you're here at the very end, I just talked about my experiences on the Carnival Mardi Gras on a 7-day Bahama cruise that we did at the very end of February into the beginning of March, and then the Disney Dream Bahama cruise where we went on a 4-day cruise, and then just comparing those ships in particular and the affordability, price, entertainment, and food offerings on both ships. This could definitely does vary depending on the actual ship that you go on that cruise line, because I know that I've really talked up the Carnival experience in this verbal dissection of my experience, and I can already say without a doubt that I know that smaller, older Carnival ships do not match up to the experience that you get on a Disney cruise line ship. I think that I can say that confidently, even though I've never done any of those ships. And this even goes from just being in port with other cruise line ships, just especially on the Mardi Gras, pulling into port and then looking down, way down, and seeing another Carnival ship port next to us. So that was a factor that was like, oh, wow, that's a very small little Carnival ship. And then same with being on the Disney Dream and pulling into port and then seeing other smaller ships. But ultimately, it's a very different experience on both cruise lines. I enjoyed them both very much, and I'm excited to try them again. They were reasonably priced, given the discount that I was able to get with the Disney Dream cruise. Carnival is going to be a little bit cheaper, for sure. The entertainment, I think just both of them had factors that were just phenomenal takeaways. The fireworks on the Disney Dream, the Broadway production, theatrical experiences on the Disney Dream versus just the more kinetic and vocal performances that you would experience on the Carnival Mardi Gras. And they still had theater shows as well. But I do think that the Disney Dream, just the production value of that was just slightly more elevated. And then the food, I enjoyed much more on the Carnival Mardi Gras, with the exception of Remy's on the Disney Dream. Anything else? I guess I did not talk about Castaway Cay at all. It's kind of a staple experience on a Disney Dream cruise that you do not get on a Carnival cruise. Castaway Cay is Disney's private island. I'm not sure if every single cruise will port to Castaway Cay. That'd be something I'd be interested to know for sure. But that was a really cool experience. It was a very beautiful island. Just the food that was included on the island, that was fantastic. We didn't by any means get to experience all the offerings on the island that we really wanted to, but that made it more exciting to come back in the future and experience again, hopefully. And so that definitely, that's a massive factor that I can't believe I forgot to mention. Castaway Cay, getting to just relax on an island and go snorkeling, and then just the various other port excursions that they had as offerings on that island that were phenomenal. So yeah, definitely excited to get back to Castaway Cay at some point. I do not think I'm going to be able to go on the Wish for a little while, so we'll definitely see. I think we're both pretty inclined to try, I think, Royal Caribbean next, maybe Norwegian, but we'll see. I think a Caribbean cruise would be ideal to experiment with at some point. Are there any final questions, things that I did not cover in the hour that I've been talking? We're pretty much right at an hour, so I'll probably be ending it here in just a minute. We're not planning another cruise at this point. Not in the foreseeable future, but we're definitely considering looking into it, just with upcoming birthdays or anniversaries or just special occasions. If the price is reasonable and the itinerary is exciting. This is where it gets awkward because I get quiet because I'm reading the comments. It was definitely cool getting to take this cruise. So these individual cruises, taking them with Brennan's family and then taking them with my family, because our families are, I mean, we love them both. We love our own families, obviously, and then we love each other's families, and just like the dynamic that our families have that are at some points similar and then at other points divergent and very different. So each cruise was just very different in that aspect, just the company that we had. I do think that our next cruise that we would do would probably be just myself and Brennan, because we've never been on a cruise, just the two of us together. And that would be really special to get to do that. So my favorite part of the cruises was exploring the ship. I love being in a new place and being able to explore that place, especially in a sort of condensed and limited location like a cruise ship, like being able to just walk around and find a new place to eat or activity to do. And I loved all of the recreational aspects of both cruise lines and both ships. I think the for myself and Brennan, just getting to do the high ropes course on the Mardi Gras was a massive highlight of both cruises. And then getting to ride a roller coaster on a cruise ship in the ocean. As far as feeling unsafe in the various ports, we did not really. It felt parallel or similar to just going to another tourist location, like being in New York City, where you just have to be aware of your surroundings. And if anything, New York City is much more intimidating than any of these port locations were, easily, without a doubt. Nassau, it you get off of the ship and you're immediately sort of, the people want to sell their merchandise, and they want to get you in their bar, and they want to sell you their crafts. So that was a little bit not irritating or annoying or aggravating. It just sort of came with the territory of just being in a tourist location. But no, we did not feel unsafe anywhere. Some people are asking about the COVID-19 procedures. So that is definitely going to change with how all these cruises are doing that. And that's why I didn't want to focus on it too much with either cruise, because I more so personally wanted to just record the fun aspects without ignoring that there were particular safety procedures and protocols for both cruise lines. So how Carnival did it, and this is how Disney is going to be doing it, or how they're doing it now, actually, depending on the date that they decided to do this. So with Carnival, we had to take a PCR test. I believe it was 24 to 48 hours before the cruise, and then have that result to present to the customs when we provided our identifications or passports. So we had to provide proof of a negative COVID vaccine test that we had to take and show proof of ourselves. And Disney did it at the port. So when we got to the port and we pulled up to the parking garage, you could either be shuttled in off-site and then take a COVID-19 test, or you would take a COVID-19 test upon arriving to the garage, and then you would be you had to upload your vaccination proof to be cleared to arrive, and then once you arrived at the port, then you had to take the test, and then you had to be obviously negative to be clear to sail. And that was probably the most stressful and anxiety-inducing aspect of that process. Personally, I enjoyed much more knowing in advance whether or not you were going to be cleared to sail, taking a PCR test, and then getting that result back so that you would know whether or not to even waste your time to drive out to the port, versus getting all the way out to the port and then taking a test and having a surprise positive in the group, especially when people are coming from multiple different locations. So that was really stressful. And just for anybody if they mentioned, oh yeah, I had a, bit of a sniffy nose a couple days ago, like that was just like high alert in terms of just like, oh my God, is this entire experience about to be not ruined? Because I'm glad that they were taking the procedures to make sure that everybody was as safe as possible on the cruise ship, but just really awkward having to then deal with that, be turned away from the port with your bags packed was terrifying. And luckily we were all cleared to sail. We had a fantastic time, but I think that Disney now is adjusting their procedures to be like that Carnival process that you would get your test in advance, and then you would know whether or not to arrive to the port. And it's unsure how long they're going to be testing on the cruise ships. That I don't know. That's not going to be my area of expertise or relevance to report back on, because I'm in the cruising experience. I'm much more just about enjoying it and experiencing it versus reporting on it, I guess. But I'm glad that we got to go on both ships. I think I'm going to mention one more aspect here before I go ahead and turn this off, because I've been going for about an hour. I did not mention the characters on the Disney Cruise Line. That was a fun aspect. You would encounter characters all the time on the ship, on the deck, on Castaway Cay, and that was a fun little additive bonus to the entertainment aspect of the Disney Cruise Line ship, is just encountering all these characters. If you're somebody that enjoys taking pictures with characters and various outfit overlays, that was really pleasant to encounter. Carnival Cruise Line did not. I guess Disney just has more intellectual property awareness and connectivity with their cruise line that Carnival does not necessarily have. But Carnival was still entertaining and it was still fun. So I might go ahead and conclude this. I think I've confidently talked about the majority of what I wanted to. I know that I'm probably forgetting something that I'm going to really regret and beat myself up over. I had a fantastic time on both cruises. I was fortunate enough to go with people that I liked on both cruises and had a fantastic and different experience on both cruises. They were both so different, but then also similar in the best ways. And I would cruise both cruise lines again. And I guess that's like the best probable review that I could give for either cruise line, is that I enjoyed them both. Will I do a smaller Carnival cruise ship as opposed to the Mardi Gras? I don't know. I definitely don't want to feel like I've spoiled myself and doing the newest cruise ships and then experiencing lesser cruise ships and then feeling like I can make reasonable comparisons of those experiences. I don't really know, but I definitely would do both cruise lines again. Yeah, I think so. Brennan pointed out that there were more photo opportunities on the Carnival. That was something else. Thank you. I appreciate that. In terms of you could purchase pictures and picture packages, and there were a lot more options on the Carnival Cruise Line ship than there were Disney. And they were constantly taking pictures of you when you were getting off of the ship and in various locations around the ship. And I liked that a lot. I appreciated that. Disney was pretty much secluded to their just character photo opportunities, I want to say, and then just some particular ones on Castaway Cay. Yeah, I think that's it. I think I'm trying to draw this out a little bit longer just in case I forget to mention any aspect of this that I wanted to talk about. Brennan, is there anything that I mentioned or I did not mention that should be elaborated on that is reasonable to mention? Because I think that's pretty much it. These are the two cards that I got. So this one's the Carnival one, and then this one's the Disney one. This is where we got when we arrived to the room. Pretty much we would get this, and this would, be our room key, and then we could charge various aspects of the cruise to our room keys. This was a dangerous aspect of the cruise, without doubt, because when you can just walk up to a bar and then just scan your card and then just get a drink, It was very out of sight, out of mind until you got your folio at the end of the cruise, where you would see all your individual purchases and just how it all added up. That was that was a little bit rough at the very, very, very end of the cruise, just seeing that folio. Brennan requested my elevator pitch for both cruise lines. What? I asked you for okay. If my watch is telling me to stand up now. If you focus. There we go. Oh no, it's hot in here, I guess. I just embarrassed myself. So, if you are an adult and you enjoy adult activities and entertainment and gambling and drinking and live entertainment and food, excessive food offerings, then definitely the Carnival Mardi Gras. If you are more family centered and enjoy Disney and you enjoy family friendly activities and entertainment, then Disney Cruise Line. But if you like cruising, then definitely either, without a doubt. Okay. Have a super chat over here. Really enjoy your videos. Thanks for sharing. Best wishes from Ottawa, Canada. Hello there. You know, Canada, it makes me think that I would love to do an Alaskan cruise. Alaska's not in Canada, but it's it's up there. But just from what I've seen and heard about Alaska and Alaskan cruises, that seems really nice. I thought that a 7-day cruise would be. I guess that I didn't really talk about this. I'll just touch on it very quickly. Thank you, by the way, very much. But the time frame of cruises, I thought 7 days felt like a lot, felt like a long time. And I thought that 4 days would be ideal, but then 4 days also felt a little bit too short. So I don't really know. It might depend on the size of the ship or the cruise line in particular, but 4 days definitely felt good. I think that 3 days would be really, really fast. 4 days was just enough time to enjoy excursions and to enjoy and explore the ship and to eat at multiple locations and to see the entertainment. And it was pretty much that experience, but then just slightly squished and condensed into a smaller amount of time. But doing the Carnival Mardi Gras in less than a week, I would have missed out on so much, without a doubt, and I would have really regretted that. So we'll see. I'm sure that there'll be a variety of different cruise just itineraries and excursions and locations and cruise lines in the future. But I think that that's it. I think that there's no other questions or factors that I forgot to mention, which again, I'm sure that there was, and I'm sorry about that, but I wanted to make this video. So I've actually recorded a few videos since the conclusion of that series where we went on the Disney Dream and then into going to Walt Disney World and having a little staycation. So that last video that I uploaded, that was the conclusion of just that birthday series. And that was a couple weeks ago at this point. So I've done a few videos since that, but I wanted to make this live stream. Normally I'm very particular about uploading videos in sequential chronological order of the experience that I have them, but I wanted to do this live stream just to put a final cap and thought process on the cruise experience and just trying to compare them and talk about them while it's still somewhat relevant and I can actually think about them both. So thank you for coming to this live stream tonight. I had a lot of fun. Ended up going a little bit over an hour. I hope that that's okay. I appreciate Brennan for being in the comments to sort of to talk about anything that I may have missed or forgotten to talk about, and everybody that asked questions that I probably missed, and I'm really sorry about that. I get really distracted trying to talk and go back and forth and just stay with my train of thought on this. If price wasn't a factor, which would I choose? In terms of the exact cruise ships that I did or the cruise lines? Because I think that those are different. If money wasn't a factor, if the finances and the price was not a factor, I think I would lean more towards Disney, just in general. But if I'm talking about the particular ship, then I would definitely lean more towards the Mardi Gras specifically. So massive caveat with that, or asterisk. I did the biggest and newest, or one of them, Mardi Gras Carnival cruise line ship, which is the Mardi Gras. So that is a huge factor with that. But again, I would do them both again. I had a great time. They're very difficult and hard to compare, and I definitely liked and disliked, not disliked, but had preferences for both cruise lines that I've done. And now I'm excited to see where the other cruise lines fit in comparison with those, if they're somewhere in the middle, or if they far eclipse both cruise lines, or they don't even come close to the experience that I had on either of these cruise lines. But I had a great time, and I know that Brennan did too, and I know that Brennan's family had a fantastic time, and I know that my family had a phenomenal time, and I'm glad that I got to do it. So I think that's going to be it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today in the little film room that we have here. I'm going to go ahead and publish and post this, and I think that the live chat comments will publish as well. So if I see any questions that I did miss, or if I forgot to mention any aspect of either cruise, then maybe I can try to answer those. And I can also edit the thumbnail. I took a quick thumbnail just to go ahead and get started because I decided to do this very last minute. But I have another little thumbnail that I took that I thought was kind of fun. So gotta go ahead and publish that here in just a minute. Hopefully you could hear me the entire time on this microphone. If we don't end up really using these, then at least I could say that I used them a little bit, right? Okay. So thank you everybody so much. Thank you for hanging out with us today, or with me, I guess. Brennan's here too. She's in the comments. Hey, Brennan. But I guess I'll see you soon. I appreciate you watching and just hanging out with me and my family as I record these fun vlogs and post them on the internet, because they are pretty big deals to go back and edit through, just hours and hours and hours of just video footage and GoPro and phone footage, and just to be able to do that. But like once it's all said and done and uploaded and in a playlist, then I'm very happy with that, because then we can go back and enjoy it for years to come. So, all right. I'll see you later, everybody. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, and goodbye. Did I end it? I don't know. Hold on.